Can one of you record? I'll upload it.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. So we were. So we had just finished with verse 7. We were going to start from verse 8, weren't we? I'll just open up. It decided to disappear. So far, what we learned was that Suta Goswami has just reached Naimisharanya, and Shaunaka Rishi, who is the appointed head, who was appointed the head of the group of rishis there to speak to Suta, tells Suta Goswami, first praises him, and then asks him to talk about the Srimad Bhagavatam. He asks about when it was actually, when did this Bhagavatam come to be spoken? Who is the speaker? Tell us a little bit about the speaker, Shukadeva Goswami. We just know that he was a very great ascetic, and we know that he was a perfect Brahmavadi. So, when he went, the women who were bathing, they were just not phased at all. But when Vyasadeva, who was following him, reached the place, the women quickly went and wore their clothes. Then he also asks, he tells Suta Goswami, he says, tell us about how Parikshit Maharaj ended up meeting with Shukadeva Goswami, and how it was that the Bhagavatam came to be spoken to Parikshit Maharaj. So going forward from there, we start with verse 8. And here, Shaunaka Rishi is describing what they know about Shukadeva Goswami. So we've already seen that he's described him as the perfect monist, the Brahmavadi. We've also seen that he's been described as somebody who knows all the Vedas and everything. And now there is further description of the character of Shukadeva Goswami. So text 8. Sago dohana matram hi.
Sagodohana matram hi.
Griheshu grihamedhinam.
Griheshu
गृहमेधिनाम्
अवेक्षते महाभागस्
अवेक्षते महाभागस्
तीर्थी कुर्वंस्तदाश्रमम्
तीर्थीकुर्वं सदाश्रमम्
सः he Shukadeva Goswami godohana matram, only for the time of milking the cow, he certainly griheshu, in the house, grihamedhinam, of the householders, avekshate, waits, mahabhagah, the most fortunate, tirthi, pilgrimage, kurvan, transforming, tat ashramam, the residence. He, Shukadeva Goswami, was accustomed to stay at the door of a householder only long enough for a cow to be milked. And he did this just to sanctify the residence. So in this verse, Go dohana matram, he, as long as it takes for a cow to be milked. So this is following the process of madhukari. Madhukari means, Madhu means honey. Madhukara means the one that creates the Madhu. Madhukara. Madhukari is the is following the actions of the Madhukara. So what does the Madhukara do? What does the bee do? The bee goes and visits each flower. Goes, sits on the flower, picks up, goes to the next one. It doesn't stay very long. It does, it just goes, visits, sits there, whatever sticks to its feet, whatever pollen sticks to its feet, gets up, goes to the next flower. So similarly, a renunciate goes to each house and begs. Usually, and this you can see when you're in Vrindavan, even today, there are the sannyasis, the saints, the Babajis who have given up everything. If they are if they are going out for Madhukari, they will go stand outside a house and call out 3 times. You know, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. And within those 3 times, if the lady of the house doesn't come running out to give them the food, they will just walk away. After that, they will not turn, even if she calls, ki Baba, aa jao, leke jao, they will not turn and go back. You know? So, because once that is done, that is done. So usually what the mothers do is they would, when they start cooking, they'll quickly prepare and keep. And again, it will not be like, okay, roti, sabji, dal, bhat, dahi. No, 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 no. Just one item. And usually just roti. So they would, the mothers would prepare and keep a heap of rotis just for these Babajis who come. So the moment they hear him calling in the house, the previous house, she'll come running out and stand with the roti. So that, before he can call out itself, she can give it to him. So that is how Madhukari is performed. And the other thing is that most of these mendicants would not ask for alms from the same place more than 3 times. So only 3 days in a row. So if this treat is being done today, tomorrow, day after that, you will not see that Babaji here. Why? Because then it becomes a permanent shelter. I also, suppose I'm the one who's going around begging. For me, I know this house, this house, this house, they will give me. So the ashraya, the shelter of a sannyasi is Lord Shri Krishna. The permanent shelter of a sannyasi is supposed to be Lord Shri Krishna. So he cannot develop an attachment to certain places which give him sustenance. So not more than 3 days. And then, just by doing that, okay, 3rd day, 4th day, 1 week, 2 weeks, now all of a sudden you're friends with, those householders. It now becomes, you just gave up a family and now suddenly these are your family. What's the whole point? Not just that, how there's a saying, isn't it? Familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah. So, oh, this Baba, he comes every day. Don't worry, he'll come, we'll give it to him. Or, that kind of, or he'll wait because we know him. We'll tell him to wait. That kind of familiarity is also not good. So the job of the sannyasis is to just go to a place, say the name of Krishna, say the name of Radharani, so that the householders also get to hear some you know, something about the Lord, and then move on. That's it. So remember, everything that we try and do, I mean, when we are reading this, we try and imbibe certain lessons. And this could be a very good lesson for all of us. What is the lesson here? At least this is what I thought, that, you know, you go to a place, as long as you can talk about Lord Shri Krishna, you're there. The moment the topic changes and moves away, Hare Krishna, just move away. So that way you're not getting into any controversies. You're not getting into any attachments or any enmities. You're not coming back home in any way with your mind agitated. You know, oh, they said this, or overexcited. Oh, this was, you know, so wonderful. Yeah, you come back home overexcited with the discussion that you had about the Lord. That is totally different. But you come back home overexcited about a cricket match, let's say. You know, I don't know much about cricket, but you know, I have seen people who get so excited about cricket that it's just amazing. So, so the whole idea is everything is about sense control. So when we say sense control, what does that actually mean? It means not engaging too much either. Does that make sense? Okay. So moving on to the next verse. Abhimanyu sutam suta
Abhimanyu-sutam
सुतं
Suta
सूत
prahur bhagavatomam
प्राहुर्भागवतोत्तमम्
tasya janma mahascharyam
तस्य जन्म महाश्चर्यम्
कर्माणि च गृणीहि नः
कर्माणि च गृहीणीः
Abhimanyu Sutam, the son of Abhimanyu, Suta, O Suta, Prahuhu is said to be Bhagavata Uttamam, Bhagavata Uttamam, Bhagavatottamam, Gunasandhi, Bhagavatottamam, the first class devotee of the Lord. Tasya, his Janma, birth, Mahascharyam, very wonderful, Karmani, activities, Cha, and Granihi, please speak to Na, us. It is said that Maharaj Parikshit is a great first-class devotee of the Lord and that his birth and activities are all wonderful. Please tell us about him. Abhimanyu Sutam. So here they say, we know he's the son of Abhimanyu. Who is Abhimanyu? Abhimanyu was the favorite nephew of Lord Shri Krishna. So not only is Parikshit a Pandava, he comes in the line of the Pandavas, he is also in the line of Lord Shri Krishna himself. He is Abhimanyu Sutam. Abhimanyu, his mother was Subhadra. Subhadra is Krishna's sister. So not only is he coming in the line of the Pandavas, he's also closely related to Lord Shri Krishna himself. So Abhimanyu Sutam, hey Suta, Prahuhu Bhagavatottamam. He is said to be a very great devotee of the Lord. Uttama Bhagavata. Why is he called an Uttama Bhagavata? Because it comes later that Parikshit Maharaj, when he was a small child, he would play with the dolls of Lord Krishna. And he would always sit and talk to Krishna. For him, everything was Krishna. Bhagavata Uttamam. Tasya Janma Mahascharyam Karmani Cha. Now, this word Mahascharyam, it's an adjective. Mahascharyam. Absolutely amazing. Super amazing. Huh? This word is an adjective which applies equally to Janma and to Karmani. Tasya Janma Mahascharyam Karmani Cha. So this adjective sitting in the middle of Janma and Karmani applies equally to both. His birth was amazing, super amazing. And his activities, they are also super amazing. Tell us a little about both. Why was his birth super amazing? Because in the womb itself, Krishna came in the form of, Angushta Matram. He was just that high, and he went round and round Parikshit and protected him from the Brahmastra. Why is his activity Mahascharyam? In the womb itself, he saw the Lord. The act of him seeing the Lord in the womb itself is Mahascharyam. Let's start from there. Then he comes out. Why does he get the name Parikshit? Because he's always para ikshati. He's always looking at everyone and he's studying them carefully to say, are you that same person? Are you that same person who I saw in the womb? Are you that person who protected me? Huh? So that itself is another great activity of his. Plus, all his activities around worshipping the Lord. Plus, not only that, further activities will now be described. So not only activities of him being a wonderful devotee, but other activities as well. So what other activities are being described? Text 10. Sa samrat kasya va hetoh
सम्राट् कस्य वा हेतोः
Pandunam manavardhanah
पाण्डूनां मानवर्धनः
Prayopavishto gangayam
प्रायोपविष्टो गङ्गायाम्
anadrityadhirat shriyam
अनादित्य
anadritya
अनादृत्या
dhirat
धीराट्
Sriyam.
श्रियम्
Saha, he, Samrat, the emperor, Kasya, for what? Hetoho, va, or Hetoho, reason. Pandu Nam, of the sons of Pandu. Manavardhanaha, one who enriches the family. Praya Upavishtaha, sitting and fasting. Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges. Anadritya, neglecting. Adhirat, acquired kingdom. Shriyam, opulences. He was a great emperor and possessed all the opulences of his acquired kingdom. He was so exalted that he was increasing the prestige of the Pandu dynasty. Why did he give up everything to sit down on the bank of the Ganges and fast until death? So here, another wonderful aspect of King Parikshit is being described. What are they saying? Saha Samrat. Saha Ratha. Ratha means one who doesn't depend on anyone. Samrat. He was the Samyak Ratha. He was the best amongst all the kings. Ratha also means one who rules. So he was the best among all the rulers. So Saha Samrat. He was the emperor. He ruled over the other rulers. Kasya va hetoho. For what reason? Pandunam Manavardhanaha. What kind of Samrat was he? So there are emperors and there are emperors. Huh? You have emperor who Alexander was also an emperor. Or if you want to think about it, Babur and Akbar and all these people were also emperors. But did their activities, Manavardhanaha, did their activities increase the prestige of their name, of their families? We remember them as barbarians. We remember them as people who killed and who performed atrocities. But was Parikshit such an emperor? No. He was somebody who was perfect in his activities. Pandunam Manavardhanaha. So Pandunam Shashti Bahuvachan. He was the Manavardhanaha of the Pandus. Kasya va heto? Why? Prayo upavishto Gangayam. Why was he sitting at the Ganga without eating? Anadritya adhirat Shriyam. Anadritya. Adritya. Adritya comes from the word adara. Adara means to respect. Anadara means not respect. Opposite of adara. Anadara. Anadritya. We say na saha tatra tatah agatya. Agatya after coming. Gatva agatya. Remember? So gatva agatya. Similarly, anadritya. After disrespecting. After disrespecting, neglecting. Adhirat Shriyam. He was the Adhirat. His kingdom was so vast and Shriyam filled with so much opulence. He was the Adhipati. Adhipati, he was the supreme. Adhirat, he was the supreme ruler. And that kingdom was Shriyam. It was filled with opulence. Why would he give it up? Namanti yat pada niketam atmana.
नमन्ति यत्पादनिकितम् आत्मनः
Shivaya haniya dhanani shatravaha.
शिवाय हानिय धनन्दनि शत्रवः
Katham savira shriyamanga dushyadam. Dustyajam.
कथं सवीरस्यम् अङ्गदुस्त्ययजम्
Katham savira shriyamanga dustyajam.
कथं सवीरस्यम् अङ्गदुस्त्यजम्
Yuvai shatot trashtum aho sahasubihi.
युवेशतोषस्त्वम् अहो सहासुभिः
Namanti, bow down, yet pada, whose feet, Niketam, under, Atmanaha, own, Shivaya, welfare, Haniya, used to bring about, Dhanani, wealth, Shatravaha, enemies, Katham, for what reason, Saha, he, Veeraha, the chivalrous, Shriyam, opulences, Anga, oh, Tustyajam, insuperable, Yuva, just in full youth, Aishata, desired, Ut Srashtum, to give up, Aho, exclamation, Saha, with Asubihi, life. He was such a great emperor that all his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for their own benefit. He was full of youth and strength and he possessed insuperable kingly opulences. Why did he want to give up everything, including his life? Namanti yet padaniketam. The word padaniketam basically means footstool. All the other emperors, all the other kings used to come and fall at his feet in such a way that if Parikshit desired, he could use them as his footstool. He could put his foot up on them, on their backs. That is what is meant here. Namanti yet pada niketam atmanaha. Namanti yet pada niketam. So they all came and bowed down in front of him in such a way that they became his footstools. Why did they do that? Atmanaha Shivaya. For their own benefit. They didn't do it out of fear. They knew that by doing this, they would benefit out of it. Ha aniya. Anayati means to bring. Ha aniya, by definitely bringing. Dhanani Shatravaha. So all these, and they were enemies. So all these enemies used to come and fall at his feet. And in such a way that he could place his foot on their backs as a footstool. And they would bring with them all their wealth. Why? Because they knew that in that way, they would benefit immensely. So this is Parikshit. Katham, then why? Katham, how? Sahaviraha, that great warrior, who, what kind of warrior was he? Was he an old man? No, Yuva. He was a young man. He was a young warrior, great young warrior. Hey Anga, Anga means oh dear one. Anga basically means a limb. How is my hand dear to me? How is my leg dear to me? Would I want to lose a hand or a leg? No. So the same way, the word Anga basically means my dear. We say the apple of my eye. So similarly, Anga is a term of endearment. So hey Anga, so Shaunaka Rishi is telling Suta Goswami, hey Anga, katham vasaha veeraha, yuva veeraha, shriyam dustyajam. Now, this, what kind of opulence did he have? He had opulence that was uncomparable and therefore very difficult to give up. Dustyaja. It was very difficult to, this kind of opulence is so difficult to give up. Huh? But what did he do? He aishata. Aishata means he desired. He desired utsrashtum. He desired to just give everything up. Not only did he desire to just give up all his opulences, saha asubihi, along with his prana, along with his life air. Asu is the word for life air, prana. Along with his life, he not just desired to give up his opulences, he wanted to give up his life as well. Why would he do this? The next verse says, Shivaya lokasya bhavaya bhutaye.
शिवाय लोकस्य भवाय भूतये
Ya uttamashlokaparayana janaha.
य उत्तमश्लोकपरायणा जनाः
Jivanti natmathamasau parashrayam.
Jivanti natmartham
Jivanti
Jivanti
natmartham.
नात्मार्थम्
So na atma artham. Natmartham
नात्मार्थम्
asau parashrayam.
अशौ पराश्रयम्
Mumocha nirvidya
मुमोच निर्विद्य
kutah kalevaram.
कुतः कलेवरम्
Shivaya, welfare, lokasya, of all living beings. Bhavaya, for flourishing. Bhutaye, for economic development. Ye, one who is Uttama Shloka Parayanaha, devoted to the cause of the personality of Godhead. Janaha, men, Jivanti, live, do live. Na, but not. Atma Artham, selfish interest. Asav, that. Parashrayam, shelter for others. Mumocha, gave up. Nirvidya, being freed from all attachment. Kutaha, for what reason? Kalevaram, mortal body. Those who are devoted to the cause of the personality of Godhead live only for the welfare, development, and happiness of others. They do not live for any selfish interest. So even though the Emperor Parikshit was free from all attachment to worldly possessions, how could he give us his mortal body, which was shelter for others? Shivaya lokasya bhavaya bhutaye. Ye uttama shloka parayanaha janaha जीवन्ति न आत्मार्थम पराश्रयम तत् parashraya mumocha nirvidya kutah kalevaram. So he says, ye uttama shloka parayanaha janaha santi, those who are devoted to uttama shloka, devoted to the supreme personality of Godhead. Uttama shloka, one who is praised by the topmost verses, or one who is praised, one or those verses become topmost because they praise him. Uttama shloka. Such people who are devoted to Lord Shri Krishna, they do not live for themselves. Why do they live? They live because they want to Shivaya, bring auspiciousness. Kasya Shivaya, Lokasya Shivaya, for all living entities. For all the living beings, they want to bring welfare. Bhavaya, for Bhava, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Now, here the word Bhavaya Bhutaye can mean for the increase of economic development. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur chooses to translate Bhava as material life. And therefore, he says, Shivaya Bhavaya Bhutaye, he says, by bringing auspiciousness. How auspiciousness? By helping others to give up their material life. So Parikshit Maharaj was such a wonderful devotee that he was able to, as a king, ensure that his praja, his people, also came closer to Lord Shri Krishna. And that is their topmost welfare. He is not a person who lives for himself. Then why is he behaving like a person who is selfish? Why does he want to give up his life? He shouldn't really want to give up his life. He was not attached to anything material. So why would he want to give up his life? Next verse. Tatsarvam na samachakshva
Tatsarvam na samarchakshva
prishto yadiha kinchana
prishto
पृष्टो यद् इह किञ्चन
manye tvam vishaye vacham
मन्ये त्वां विषये वाचां
natamanyatra chandhasat.
नातमन्यत्र छान्दसात्
Tat, that, sarvam, all, Naha, unto us. Sama chakshva, clearly explain. Prishtaha, question. Yat, iha, herein. Kinchana, all that. Manye, we think. Tvam, yourself. Vishaye, in all subjects. Vacham, meanings of words. Natam, fully acquainted. Anyatra, except. Chandasat, portion of the Vedas. We know that you are expert in the meaning of all subjects except some portions of the Vedas, and thus you can clearly explain the answers to all the questions we have just put to you. Tat sarvam naha samachakshva yad iha kinchana prishtam. Yad atra yadiha kinchana prishtam asti tat sarvam samachakshva naha. Whatever little questions we have asked, whatever kinchana, whatever we have asked, all of that, please some achakshva, samyak achakshva, clearly explain to us. So that achakshva, so that we can see it all clearly. So explain it perfectly. Manye, aham manye, I believe. Tvam, you to be. Vishaye vacham snatam. Vishaye, in this Vishaya, in this, on this subject, vacham snatam. You have the full ability to speak. Huh? You are perfectly endowed with the ability to speak. Vacham snatam. Anyatra chandasat. Why are you you have the full ability to speak this? Not only do you know the subject, being a Suta, you're not a Brahmana. So, Suta, if you realize, Suta is a term which is used to describe someone who is born of a mixed breed. So, mixed caste, meaning Brahmana mother and Kshatriya father. So, Suta Goswami, his antecedents are of mixed origin. They are not pure Brahmana, okay, by birth. Now, so he is saying by birth, you may not be eligible, but by knowledge, you are eligible. So Suta Goswami's father, Romaharshana Suta, the one who was killed by Balaramji, Suta. So Suta's son, Suta. So going back that way, so if you look at Karna in the Mahabharata, Karna is called Suta, Sutaputra. He is a Suta. Now, is the word Suta therefore a derogatory term? It is not. It is just an indicative term. Okay. So, if in the, today we hear, oh, Karna was, the Pandavas were very derogatory to Karna because they called him Suta. No, they were not. In those times, that is how. Here, who are we talking about? We are talking about Suta Goswami. Okay, Suta Goswami, who is the speaker of the Bhagavatam, who was elected as the perfect speaker by a whole host of rishis, right? To explain to them the Bhagavatam. So the word Suta is in no way derogatory. It is just, so my name is Lakshmi Patel. If somebody came and said, oh, you're Patel. Yeah, how is that derogatory? Right? So it's exactly the same way. You know, you're Ayyar, Ayyangar, you say in Tamil. It is in no way derogatory. So here again, so he's saying, Anyatra Chandasat. You may not be eligible to speak the Vedas because you are not born a Brahmana. But you are definitely eligible to speak the Bhagavatam. Does that make the Bhagavatam inferior to the Vedas? No. Because what are we saying? The Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedas. So, here, Prabhupada actually, in the second paragraph, he talks about the difference between the Brahmanas and the Parivrajakas. So the Brahmanas are meant to administer some fruitive sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas, but the Parivrajakacharyas or learned preachers are meant to disseminate transcendental knowledge to one and all. As such, the Parivrajakacharyas are not always expert in pronouncing the Vedic mantras, which are practiced systematically by accent and meter by the Brahmanas who are meant for administering Vedic rites. Yet it should not be considered that the Brahmanas are more important than the itinerant preachers. They are one and different simultaneously because they are meant for the same end in different ways. So what does the Brahmana do? The Brahmana is someone who has trained rigorously from a very young age. He sat down and he's chanted all the Vedas according to the Chanda meter, according to the accent, according to, according to the raga, everything has to be perfect. So they are trained in that way. Now, a Brahmana may or may not be able to go into details of explanation of shlokas. They may know the general meaning, but they may not know the detailed meanings. Now, someone who has spent his life studying detailed grammar and therefore going into the meanings may not be able to chant Chanda because there are 6 Vedangas. Chanda is a Vedanga. Vyakarana is a Vedanga. Okay. Similarly, what is astrology? That is another Vedanga. So there are 6 such Vedangas. So one who is an expert in one may or may not be an expert in another. So here, that's what they're trying to say, that you, Sutta Goswami, you are expert in the Bhagavatam. You know it perfectly. Therefore, you please tell us. You may or may not be expert in the Vedas, but we are not concerned about that at this stage. So from the next shloka onwards, Sutta Goswami starts to speak. So what we shall do is we shall pause here for today and we'll start with text 14 from next week. So any questions or comments on this section?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, then.
Just one question.
Oh, yes, Prabhuji.
You just mentioned one word because Sutta Goswami was not born in a Brahmin family. He is not eligible. So does that mean like Varnashram system was not followed at that time? Because he had the quality of a Brahmana. So
Yes.
what if he's not a Brahmana? How does it matter? But he's still eligible, right? Okay, he's not eligible in the chandas and chanting of the Vedas. But how is birth? Birth might be a main quality, but here birth of Suta Goswami, it doesn't prove that he is in the nature of a Shudra or a Vaishya. So
Nobody
how
said he
can,
was a Shudra or a
yeah? So
Vaishya.
how can
Suta
we
does not mean. No,
how can
listen,
we
listen.
categorize a birth?
Suta means Brahmana mother and Kshatriya father, both of whom are eligible, who are considered the higher classes. Okay, and now, anyways, we are not going into class out here. Okay, what this actually means here is that you are not trained in Chanda. Okay, now the reason I brought up the word Suta, although it is not here, is because it says Vacham Snatam. So you have the full ability to speak the Bhagavatam. Nowhere does it talk about the fact that because he was Suta, he was in any ways disqualified. Okay. The only word here is Anyatra Chandasat, which shows that he was not qualified in speaking the Vedas.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, it is quite possible that he was not trained in the Vedas.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is all that we are saying out here. We are not talking about higher class, lower class. And we are not, and I do not have the ability to comment because nowhere does it say about it, whether because he was a Suta, he was rejected. Because if you really look at it, Karna was not rejected even by Parashurama. Karna was not rejected by Dronacharya. Because Dronacharya, his first guru was Dronacharya. And then when Dronacharya refused to teach him the Divya Astras, that is when he moved on to Parashurama. So nowhere is the word Suta in any way, what is the word I'm looking for? Denigrating somebody. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not about whether they were born in a particular way or whether they were following a caste system. Again, this word caste system is such a horrible word, which we really should not be using because that is not something which any of our scriptures actually talk about. Okay. For instance, you should hear if possible, listen to, I think I sent out the video by Ami Ganatra
Yeah.
about on the Mahabharatas, on the Mahabharata and Ramayana. She is someone who, again, had all these questions. So how she actually got into learning all this was, she says it in her own words. She says that one day I was reading the Manusmriti, and there it says that all these should be studied by someone who is of the same jati. Okay. And the English translation was all this should be studied by people of the same caste. And she was like, what are they talking about? The topic has nothing to do with caste. Where is this coming from? And then she realized that, in Sanskrit, when we say jati, we say things like, Manushya jati, Pashu jati. So it is to be studied by all humans, is what the verse actually means. But then the word jati has been so misused that every English translator tends to go off in a tangent and say, oh, it's a caste. And then we have the whole, British, caste system, caste system. Hindus have a caste system. And, that way they suppress the lower castes. The Brahmanas are suppressing the lower castes, and therefore the Brahmanas must be targeted, which has been happening all this while. That has started. Whereas in our Shastras, there is nothing about caste. There is nothing like uncha caste or nicha caste.
Yeah.
You become ucha or nicha by your activities. हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? We don't say, when we say ucha jati, we're talking about somebody who falls into a category of people who do very high tasks, whose thinking is very high. But it has come to mean ucha jati, meaning Brahmana. Why is a Brahmana a ucha jati? Why not a Kshatriya? Because at the end of the day, the Kshatriya is the one who's got the wealth, who's got the power. Where did the Brahmana become an ucha jati?
Knowledge.
So the whole idea is that there is nothing like a ucha jati or a nicha jati. Everyone is working according to their, what does Krishna say?
Guna karma vibhagayo, right?
Guna karma.
But I think that is theoretically, Mataji, but if you look into, we can't deny the fact that oppression happened and people were suppressed. Even famous acharyas like Ramanuja fought for it, even the great Annamacharya fought for it, So
what I'm saying is, why did they fight for it? Would any of these acharyas go against what is written in the Shastras?
That's what I'm saying. That was not followed, but we can't deny the fact that.
No. Listen, there are two things here. One is the Shastras do not say it.
Yes, Shastras do not say it.
Okay. Now we have to be very clear about that.
Yes.
Second, the Shastras were misinterpreted or wrongly interpreted to say and suppress certain classes of people.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Now the second part is totally regrettable.
Yes.
And for that, definitely the people who did that, those people need to be punished. But you cannot just generally randomly say a whole community of people, because that is what is happening today.
Yes.
Firstly, the Shastras are being vilified. तुम्हारे वेदों में ऐसे लिखा है.
That we have to defend, but all I'm speaking is the second.
No, but to defend that, we have to realize that our Shastras do not ever say that.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah.
Second, certain people said it. Today, are we doing it? Are we doing that today? If we are not doing it today, why keep bringing up the past? This is exactly the same as around the world, all white people are bad because they went out and suppressed, but not all white people did it. And today the kids who are in school are being, taught guilt. White guilt, it's called.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that? When you bring up a whole set of people who are guilty, what is the world going to be like?
No, true. But I don't think so. It's against Brahmins or something. But even if you go to, even for example, Tamil Nadu, I mean, it's going out of topic, but I think we'll discuss this.
Let's turn off our recording, please.